The same day it passes a bill legalizing sports betting in the state.
Temperatures still way above normal, but at least we won't challenge any record highs. However, we still got to talk about a little lingering rain. We'll have the latest from the Skywatch Weather Center.
And the official dessert is named as preps are underway for the Queen's Platinum Jubilee celebration.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Kansas legalizes sports betting, but the state is sued almost immediately. This is KOAM News at Noon. I'm Tanya Bach. Topping our first 7 minutes, a lawsuit concerning an unrelated part of the law designed to revive a long-closed Greyhound track in Wichita, Kansas. The new law will allow people in the state to use phone or computer apps to bet on sporting events and to place bets at state-owned casinos, though it's not clear yet how soon the wagering could begin. Now, most of the state's share of revenues from the new gambling will go to efforts to lure the Kansas City Chiefs from Missouri to Kansas. The lawsuit filed Thursday is from the Kansas Star Casino, operated by Boyd Gaming, about 15 miles south of Wichita. The casino has a contract with the Kansas Lottery Commission and says that contract has been breached because the new law allows improper competition from new gambling devices at Wichita Greyhound Park. Well, we've got a break in the rain, but for how long? Michael Hayslip joins us with First Look.
Probably the rest of the afternoon and into the evening hours. I really think if you got Friday night plans, you're going to be okay. Eventually, you're right. It is going to creep back in from the west, but we've got an elongated period of time here before we see anything. Take a look at our miniature tower as it slowly comes down section by section. This is out just to the south of the mothership here. Giving you an idea, as we scan down here, at one time this thing was 500 feet up in the air, and slowly but surely is just about down to the ground. And of course, that phase 1 of our power project as we continue to increase our power on our larger tower that of course will be standing every time you come past the home chip. Temperatures right now, this is interesting because out to the west is where we had the warmth earlier this morning. It was taking a while for the eastern and southern portions of southwest Missouri to catch up, but because of that low pressure system that just hung over southeast Kansas all morning long. Look at the complete role reversal. We've now got 80s already in Neosho, Anderson, and Cassville, Joplin right behind at 78, and comparing that to 73 in both Oswego and Yates Center. The rain is done in SEK for the time being, now kind of creeping into northeast Oklahoma, just across the state line into Newton County, south of I-44, and south of Joplin for the most part. Those are just a little spotty shower activity. The hardest of the rain still staying way down to our south, but in a place where they desperately do not need any more precipitation. What they got down there in the Muskogee and southeast of I-44, about the equivalent of what we saw in Jasper and Barton counties last week. A little bit of sunshine here as the clouds slowly break. We'll still go mostly cloudy skies for our Friday. And then, as Tanya was asking about, as we push into tonight, watch out to the west right there as we see the formulation of some spotty thunderstorm activity about 9:30 in the far northwestern quadrant. As we sweep through, it does become a little bit more widespread, but that's for late Friday, early Saturday morning. And then we're clearing off. Going to be a gorgeous start to Saturday, and albeit a little bit of a warm one as well. Not going to challenge any record highs either for today or tomorrow. And then coming up here in just a bit, Tanya, we will conclude our weekend because we're going to finish off Sunday and roll into Monday with some thunderstorm activity as well.
All right, we'll talk about that. Might affect your weekend plans, who knows?
Yeah, don't let it affect you too much because like I said, it's still going to be a delightful Saturday morning, most of Saturday afternoon, and yeah, it's going to be a while before we get the widespread rain.
All right, sounds good. Thanks, Michael. Well, a Texas prison inmate remains on the loose after he stabbed a guard, took control of a prison bus, and crashed it before escaping. Authorities say Gonzalo Lopez was on board the bus yesterday along with 15 other inmates headed for Huntsville when he slipped out of his shackles, made his way to the front of the bus, and stabbed the driver in the hand. Lopez was last seen running across a pasture, prompting an intense search, forcing a nearby school district to close for the day. Officers fired shots toward Lopez, but it was not clear if he was hit. A national shortage of baby formula is forcing parents to scramble to find it anywhere they can get it. The White House says it's working to get more formula on store shelves. And new this morning, Congress says it will investigate the causes of the low supply. There are new allegations of possible war crimes by Russian forces in Ukraine. Officials say an attack on 2 schools in the northern part of Ukraine killed 3 people and wounded 12. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky responded by saying all Russian commanders who give such orders are simply sick and incurable. Today, Ukrainian authorities began the first war crimes trial of the conflict. A Russian soldier stands accused of killing a Ukrainian civilian in the early days of the war. Well, Britain's Queen Elizabeth is out in public for the first time in more than a month. The 96-year-old's unexpected appearance comes just days after she missed the state opening of Parliament. CBS's Tina Kraus takes us to the Royal Windsor Horse Show for the story.
Crowds cheered as they spotted the Queen's Range Rover rolling into the Royal Windsor Horse Show. The Queen loves horses, but with her fragile health, few expected to see her. The 96-year-old's smiling face stole the show as her horse took the top prize. The monarch used a cane to make her way into the royal box to enjoy the annual event. The horse parade kicks off the official Platinum Jubilee celebration, marking the Queen's 70 years on the throne.
This is the Jubilee pudding.
Another sweet surprise came Friday, the announcement of the Jubilee's winning dessert, or platinum pudding as the Brits call it. Gemma Melvin says her 7-layer lemon and Swiss roll amaretti trifle is a tribute to her family and Her Majesty.
My gran taught me to bake. My nan's signature dish was a trifle, and the Queen had lemon posset at her wedding, so we put it all together like that.
Gemma beat out 5,000 other amateur bakers in the nationwide competition to celebrate the Queen's reign. Tina Kraus, CBS News, London.
That looks pretty good. The recipe for that winning trifle will be shared with the public so bakers across the country can make it during the UK's 4-day Platinum Jubilee holiday next month. Pretty sure I'm going to be doing it too. That's a look at today's top stories and weather in our first 7 minutes. Up next on KOAM News at noon, it's reunion time. Remember the Tennessee couple who woke to find a stranger's dog in their bed?
Whose dog is this?
We check in on Nala, the mystery bed crasher. And later, we're making a country coleslaw in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen. Here's a look at our tower camera sponsored by R.E. Smith Construction as work continues on the KOAM More Power project. Yesterday, tower crews with Precision Communication installed a temporary antenna on KOAM's 1,000-foot tower. The FCC approved KOAM TV and Fox 14 to increase the station's transmitter power and antenna strength. And there are several elements to this project which could take until the end of June to complete. Now, part of the project is to take down the shorter 500-foot tower. You can check out the progress anytime on our website at KOAMnewsnow.com/power. Well, you've heard of strange bedfellows, but this story from Tennessee gives those words new meaning. Now, we first introduced you to Nala on the KOAM Morning News earlier this week. And Jamie Yukas gets us up to date on what started out as an unusual canine adventure.
The Johnsons woke during a thunderstorm to find their bed was more crowded than usual.
I said, "Hey, Julie, whose dog is this?"
Cuddled next to them was a dog they didn't know.
Rolled over on my side of the bed and he goes, no, it's not our dog.
So who was this mystery visitor?
1, how did the dog get in my house? 2, we have 3 dogs, Jupiter, Hollis, and Zeppelin, and they bark at anything. A squirrel in the yard, a rabbit, a bird, they bark.
This time they didn't, and the intruder was able to wander in through the back door. The Johnsons posted pictures of their new friend on Facebook, and a neighbor replied.
We got a Facebook message saying, hey, that's my dog. I'll be there in a few minutes. What's your address?
Nala had slipped out of her collar and traveled nearly 2 miles before finding a warm place to rest.
Matter of fact, I was still laying in the bed snuggling with Nala when her mom walked in the room.
Cameras were rolling for the Hollywood ending.
Nala's on her way over. Yeah, Nala.
The happy reunion when Nala's owners brought her back for a visit. What started as strange bedfellows ended as new best friends. Jamie Yukas, CBS News.
Well, Nala's family and the Johnsons combined for a total of 4 dogs and 4 people. They've since reunited for ice cream, treats, and puppy playdates. Perfect pack of new friends. Still to come on the KOAM News at noon, Mr. Food.
You know, sometimes we get so caught up in trying to make a recipe a little different that we forget that many of the best dishes are the most basic ones. I'll show you what I mean.
But first, Michael Hayslip returns you with a not-so-basic complete forecast.
There we were on Monday and Tuesday, challenging record highs. Yesterday, setting record highs. Got up to 91 at Joplin Regional Airport and at Martin Johnson Airport in Chanute. Our May average high now 75.1 degrees. Now, just to put that into perspective, yeah, you go, that sounds about average, right? Well, we started this week on Monday. Our May average high was still in the high 60s. We have picked up a full 7 degrees this week alone. That's only in the span of 5 days we've been able to pick up 7 degrees. Now, for those of you that are a little tired of the heat, I completely understand, and we will not get close to that 1995 record of 90 degrees. Live look over 7th and Rangeline, where the clouds have dominated our morning, still waiting for a break every now and then, sitting at a comfortable 78 degrees, and the humidity, yep, playing a role right now. Warmer temperatures out to the east, and that's because most of southeast Kansas and a sliver of northeast Oklahoma was mired in that morning rainfall that at times was torrential. But now when we factor in the eastern portion that got more sunshine early and has a little bit more humidity, when we talk about what it feels like, quite a difference right here is we'll see as much as 10 to 11 degrees when you drop down into the southeast, where Cassville sits at 83, Neosho at 81. Compare that to 72 in both Fort Scott and Iola. We still do have a little residual holding on right here, not as widespread as what we had earlier. But now we see it along I-44 through Ottawa and Delaware County. Little patch in Newton County, just to the south of Joplin. But it's nothing compared to what they've had all morning long to the southeast of I-44 and in between 44 and also I-40. They not only have lightning, but for, I'd say the last 3 or 4 hours, they have had severe thunderstorm warnings that will not let up. Of course, this area, especially when you get around the Muskogee area, inundated with rain from 2 weeks ago, and they will have massive flooding concerns headed into the weekend. Have been stressing that if you've got weekend plans and you want to go down to Tahlequah, something like that, go down the Illinois River, why don't we just skip it this week? They got enough cleanup on their hands they need to take care of, just like we do here in the 4 states and still in portions of Jasper and Barton County. Speaking of Jasper and Barton County, good thing that they were able to stay dry this morning, because what we did see, especially out by Burlington and Garnett and that area, picked up anywhere from 3 to 3.5 inches. And even in that Chanute, Fredonia, Yates Center area, about 1.5 inches of rain. But you can tell that dividing line, that north-south dividing line that it created right there, it just stalled out and would not creep any further off to the east. As far as the national perspective, it will be the upper plain once again where we'll see the dominating severe weather for the afternoon. We are not done, however, with our rain. It's an afternoon planner that eventually gives us a little break with some sunshine, but here we go. We originate out to the northwest. This is not a widespread organized system, but at times it can pocket heavy rain and also, too, give us some high winds, slight possibility for some hail as it moves through there early Saturday morning. But then after that clears off, great looking Saturday afternoon. In fact, a little bit warm with that humidity coming back. But here we go for Sunday afternoon. Once we get started off to the northwest, there we see it develop. It'll be widespread on us really for Saturday afternoon and evening. See that roll through right there? That thing is organized and dropping some serious rain, especially as you get south of I-44. Not really much of a back off temperature-wise on the 7-day forecast as we maintain the 80s, but we at least make our chances for rain much slighter to begin next week.
Well,
we got to bring up, we did a great job. Tim did a marvelous job with the picture. We didn't explain the line to the story, though. Because you
well,
said
actually, he said it in the story.
Right, but on
the
the
couple's
morning
names,
show,
there was Julie and Jimmy Johnson.
Yep.
They woke up in the middle of the night, or they woke up in the morning to discover there was a strange dog in their
and
bed.
this is Jimmy telling the story on the morning show, and he reenacted it, and he yelled out, "Julie, whose dog is this?" So it has become a staple here at KOAM on the morning show in the noon. Thank you, Tim. I loved it.
And I'm glad to see that the dogs, because Julie and Jimmy, they said that if the owner didn't claim the dog, they did a Facebook
and bring
search.
proof on social media that the dog belonged to them.
They were going to keep and then have 4 dogs in their family.
Yes.
But the dog found its owners, happy ending. But they're now like new friends. They've made friends. They hang out, and
We may not know the answer to the question who let the dogs out, but we do know the answer to Julie. Whose dog is this?
There you go. We take this time to honor today's four-state hero, Sergeant Casey Simmons in the U.S. Army. The Joplin native joined the 294th Engineer Company in 2003. He served tours in both Iraq and Kuwait. Simmons earned the Army Commendation Medal, the Army Achievement Medal, and the Global War on Terrorism Medal. To Sergeant Casey Simmons, we thank you, our four-state hero. If you're starting to plan your summer barbecues, this side dish is sure to please your guests. Today, Howard shows us his way to make country coleslaw in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen.
You know, sometimes we get so caught up trying to make a recipe a little different that we forget that many of the best dishes are the most basic ones. That's why today I want to share with you a good old-fashioned coleslaw that has stood the test of time. We start by cutting a head of cabbage into quarters and removing the core. Now we place it flat side down on a cutting board. This way it won't wobble when we cut it. Then with a sharp knife, we carefully shred it. If you want, you could even make this with a bag of pre-shredded cabbage right from the market. Either way, we add a shredded carrot along with thinly cut strips of green pepper. Now for the part that makes this all come together. We combine some mayonnaise, lemon juice, a bit of sugar, and a little salt. After mixing it, we toss this with the cabbage. I actually learned that the key to making really good coleslaw is to mix it with your hands. But that's up to you. After it's chilled, it's ready to serve with any of our summertime favorites. What makes this so good is that it has just the right balance of tartness to creaminess. As always, the recipe for our country coleslaw is online now. I'm Howard with Kelly in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen, where today we found an old-fashioned way for you to say, ooh, it's so good.
You can find this recipe along with a lot more good food from the Mr. Food Test Kitchen online. Just go to our website at KOAMnewsnow.com. Here's a look at our four-state market prices.
Still rather humid this afternoon, but not going to break any records, that's for sure. We'll just go mid-80s. It will be nice to get a little afternoon sunshine. But remember, we're going to have rain late tonight. It'll be rather sporadic. We'll get more widespread thunderstorm activity beginning Sunday evening that'll carry us into Monday morning.
All right. The majority of our weekend should be lovely then.
Yeah, I think it will be.
Tolerable anyway.
Well, yeah, warm. What do we have coming up tonight at 5?
Well, with more Americans now testing for COVID-19 at home, it's become more difficult to monitor infection rates. In Health Watch, why wastewater sampling is more valuable than ever using sewage to track the pandemic. Plus, Erie School District clarifies its policy on recognizing deceased students during graduation. And rock enthusiasts gather at Joplin Museum this weekend for the Rock and Gem show. So rocks as in stones, not rock and roll as in Rolling Stones.
Not the Rolling Stones. Okay.
Correct. That's coming up on KOAM News at 5.
Thanks for joining us for KOAM News at Noon. We'll see you right back here at 5 o'clock.